We've got people, 750 people scattered around the landscape doing a number of different things, but the objective, of course, is to put out the fire. Down in what we call the Battle Axe area, from here all the way around to Superior, there has been very moderate fire activity. It has not grown much. We are having a lot of success with holding it where it is. We're using roads and rock outcrops and other terrain features to curtail the growth of the fire, and we've been really successful about it. There is one area, Apache Leap, and another one up in the top of the world area where we are actually putting fire around structures, trying to protect them from the fire, so that we're seeing fairly, a little bit more than what we would call moderate fire activity in those areas, but the intent is to protect existing structures. As you get further up along 60, going up toward the Claypool area, that area is holding real well, with the exception of one area near the mine. We have not had the fire actually make a significant entry on the other side of 260, and that area is well under control right now in the Pinto Mine area. As you come around to the east side of the fire, you'll see the little hook on the end there. That is line that has been constructed and burned out over the last couple of evenings, and the intent is to try to create a catcher's mitt to trap the fire as it continues to move east, and our intent is to try to stop the fire before it gets any further into the globe area. That line comes down Russell Gulch, and eventually ties into the Pinal fire of 2017. Depending on what happens with our evening activities and the way the fire hits those lines that we're burning out during the daytime will depend a lot on whether the fire crosses it and moves further to the east. The Pinal fire is an impediment to the fire in some degree because in 2017 the heavy fuels burned pretty significantly in those areas. But unfortunately, right now the fine fuels have come back in, the grasses, and so it will move rather rapidly through that area. Not move rather real hot, but it will move through because the grass is a carrier of fuels. And so we're hoping that it doesn't get in there. We hope that our activities in the gulch area stop the fire where we'd like to see it, but there's no guarantee. One of the things we are asking folks to do right now is stay out of the Pinal fire area. It's a popular recreation site for a lot of folks. We have fire activity going on in that area. We do not need the public in there. They are actually closed to the public. We'd appreciate you heeding our advice to stay out of there. One of the things as an example of how dry it is out there is we have heavy equipment. We have dozers and things that have sharp steel edges that make contact with the ground that set sparks. We've actually had to put out fires that our equipment has started. And of course, we have crews and fire engines there that are capable of doing that. But if you are out there recreating, you don't have that luxury. And so we could be having a fire very close to the fire we already have. We do not need that. With that, I would take any questions you might have.
Folks who live in those areas, they've been warned to either stand by to evacuate or evacuate. Do you foresee any more of those coming up during the next 12 hours?
We've already evacuated the areas that are on the far side. Six Shooter Canyon and Ice House Canyon have been evacuated. Those were done, I think, yesterday, anticipating our creation of fire in the landscape out there. Even with our creating a control feature, we are still concerned that it may get across that. So those areas were evacuated. We do not anticipate at this time any additional go-type actions, but that doesn't mean they won't happen. But we are not anticipating them in the next, say, 12 hours. One of the things that has been happening is we've been getting a lot of concern over smoke. We've got 71,000 acres on fire out here, and there is going to be smoke coming up from various places. Some of it is from fire we've lit in a backburn type operation to keep the fire from moving. Others just pockets of fuel inside the fire burning out. So do not be too alarmed by just seeing smoke. If there is a need for people to evacuate, the Pinal and the Gila County Sheriff's Departments will be making those contacts and letting people know they need to do that.
Talk about the numbers that you have on fire today. I know they.
Okay, this morning our numbers were at 750 folks, 71,756 acres on within the confines as we knew it last night. We managed the fire mapping process with drones and with fixed-wing aircraft doing infrared photography. And so in the evenings we put together maps like these and have a really pretty accurate account of where the fire is and what our acreages are.
You concerned about winds this evening?
We have had fairly decent luck with winds dying down, and that's why we were able to do the burning out that we're talking about in the Gulch. But the problem we've got is that humidity is not staying down. It's coming back up, but it's still within a framework where we still have fire. And we don't have the cool nighttime temperatures you would have earlier in the year, nor do we have humidity recovery, and so we're seeing significant fire activity in the evening.
After we saw what happened last night, the fire not lying down, but actually moving, are you aware, I know you're aware, but are you anticipating being in those areas to keep that from getting any?
Yeah, we're going to be working in those areas, but similar conditions tonight as last night. We're not expecting much of a change in weather until we get into the weekend, and then the winds are supposed to be a little less. But unfortunately, the temperatures are going up, and which becomes a problem with our firefighters as far as hydration. So it's a mixed blessing. The winds die down, but the temperatures are going up.
Talk a little bit about, to folks that are out there that are concerned about their homes in those particular areas, tell them how unpredictable the fire is, and you guys are doing everything you can to make sure it doesn't get to those areas.
Well, fire is an unpredictable thing, but we are doing everything we can to keep the fire from moving into areas where we have structures. That's one of the goals of placing the fire lines where we are. We do preliminary evacuations because unfortunately it's not an exact science. We can't say for certainty when we create a fire line whether it'll hold. And so we do evacuations, and sometimes people come back and say, why do I have to be evacuated? Well, it's for safety's sake. We would hate to lose somebody. And unfortunately, say fire is not, we can't say that's where we're stopping it. The fire doesn't give us feedback. So it does in some sense, but.
So have any structures been destroyed by the fire?
We are aware that some structures have been damaged by the fire and possibly destroyed. We are in the process of investigating that. That is the purview of the State Fire Marshal's office, and we are waiting for feedback from them before we announce any structure lost.
Right now it's kind of, I wanted to talk to you about the firefighters. You've got 700 and some odd firefighters in there right now. How are they doing? Any injuries, anybody? I mean, you switch them out pretty quick.
We have had some moderate injuries, but nothing that's of consequence. Our biggest problems are hydration and making sure people drink enough fluids to be able to do the job. They can mitigate by resting certain periods. Unfortunately, the people at night are not getting the rest they would like because it's hot in the evenings. People are working long shifts. Both the days and the night shifts are working long shifts, and so it is difficult in this environment for everybody to get enough rest. But we do manage. We have work rest guidelines that we follow, and we do our best to allow people to mitigate their sleep and their work.
For those people that are still in their homes that have not been evacuated yet, is there anything that they can do to prep their property in any way to lessen the damage?
Well, there are a number of things. A particular concern is if you're living in an environment where you have ponderosa pine or large oak trees around your property where you have leaf residue on your roofs. That is one of the best things you can do. Also, raking it away 50, 60 feet away from the structure boundaries, because you do not want to get flame in contact with your foundation or your roof. And there are a lot of times where we have found where people who've done prep work on their homes before a fire has come through, their homes have been saved, where the ones next to them have been burned because people didn't take some basic precautions about clearing areas around their house. One thing I would add, though, if you're asked to evacuate, it is for your safety and to some extent the safety of the firefighters. And so if you're in an area where you do have active fire, we would appreciate your cooperation in evacuating and leaving the area so our firefighters can do their job.
All right. Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Make sure to get us off the screen. Hey, Schmidt. It's okay. We are done here. If you're still streaming, it's over.